I'm ready, Freddy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning. I use one light, not two.
They don't know that because they can't see
No,
that.
because there's shadow on this side of the face and no shadow. Usually when there's two lights, there's no shadow. But I didn't feel like putting two lights up. I'm being rebellious.
They don't know that.
Yeah, they do.
You're such a...
Half of my face is in the shadow. What do you mean they don't know that? They got two peepers.
I've seen it with my own two peepers.
Where's my drink?
I don't know. He's on my nerves right now, you guys. Like, seriously. Every little thing I say, he wants to sit here and like...
Sound like Johnny. Johnny Cat.
Which Johnny?
The Muppet.
Oh.
He lives on that street, Sesame. He hangs around with that Vato Grouchy.
Oh my God.
He hangs around with a real tall yellow guy.
He's driving me crazy, you guys. We just finished seeing... well, first of all, got home from church. It's an awesome service. Because for us, it's still Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday evening for us.
It's Monday morning for you guys. Well, Sunday evening. It's already Sunday night. What are you talking about Sunday evening? It's Sunday late night already.
Sunday evening somewhere.
Yeah. No?
Mm-hmm. Hawaii.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, anyways. It's almost 11 something here already. And it's Monday morning for you guys. But got home from church, and I don't know what happened, but I literally went straight to the room. I laid my head down, and according to me, I was just gonna rest my head for a moment. I don't think I woke up till about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening almost. And I woke up to David. I was worried, though, because I literally thought that I was already late for work.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh, one of those naps.
It was one of those type of naps. I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm. What time is it? I have to go to work.
Oh, I should have went along with it.
So I was sitting there like all worried because I thought I was late for work and I had missed work. And everything was so quiet in the house. And I come into the living room and David's like... he was watching this movie and it looked like a kung fu type movie. And I'm like, what are you doing, babe? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I just started it right now. He goes, it's a movie called Ip Man, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, Ip Man. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I just sat with him. And
no, I said it's a true story about Bruce Lee's teacher. That's what I told you.
Yeah. And then so I sat down and I was starving, and I'm like, I'm starving, and I'm like, can we quickly go grab something? Or, I was not in the mood to cook. So, and he's like, yeah, what do you want to go grab? And then he started playing the movie. My hunger went away, guys. This movie, now I have to say that it's one of the most, I'm not a big, huge movie person the way David is, but it's one of my most favorite movies that I have ever seen.
And it's a foreign film.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. My hunger went away, by the way. I didn't even care. I actually just threw a few wings inside my air fryer that my kids bought me for Mother's Day. I was like, I love that thing. That thing is amazing, by the way. If you guys have an air fryer, aren't they the best? I thank God for my kids, man. What they bought me for Mother's Day, that was the best gift ever. Threw them in there. I came right back to watch the movie, and that was it. That movie is amazing. If you guys have not watched it, you should watch it. It's pretty cool.
I just realized 8 minutes left, and it's trying to correct. It's doing that weird thing. So I'm going to delete a couple of videos, and we'll be right back, guys.
Again?
All right, guys, we're back.
We are back.
I had to, there's a lot of videos on my phone. I didn't realize all this time. So I had to delete them. I mean, it's double copies because it's the original. And then when I save it to the editor, so
then
it's like...
Then you resave it again. I know.
Yeah, so
I didn't realize that. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is. So anyways, guys, it was one of those days, and... Praise God, here we are now. I'm excited because we actually got a chance to watch a movie, though. You know, which is something that we rarely do. So it was really nice that we had a chance to do that.
So because you missed the first 30 minutes after the movie finished, we went back and I rewatched the first 30 minutes so you can kind of... That's a really good movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
Very, very well made.
Yeah, it was well written.
It was 2009, or I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it said.
It's a pretty old movie, but it was still very good.
Yeah,
I really
It's on Netflix, actually.
Yeah. But here we are now, guys.
Yeah.
And I want to say that we had an amazing Zoom identity seminar, which was part 3 that we had.
The final part.
Yeah, it was really good, guys.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody that did show up for the part 3. And if you missed it and you were there for part 1 and part 2, we do have part 3 available for you to go back and be able to watch it and be able to tune in.
I emailed it to everyone already. Yeah. So if you didn't get the email, let me know, but make sure you check your emails first. It would be from House of Rest Church staff. Check that, So I sent it out to everyone that gets our notifications and anyone that's on the Zoom list. So one of those, some of you might have got too, then with a link for part 3 on there.
Yeah. Thank you for those of you that did join in live. My most cherished times for those moments are, because you got to remember, I've been to many of these, and I sit in on a lot of them with my husband. And my most cherished moments is when I'm able to come together with everybody. And just to be able to hear, the testimonies, the fellowship, and to hear everybody's input. And yesterday being one of the last ones, for you guys, it was Saturday. On Saturday being one of the last ones, just the words that were shared and the appreciation and the love that was given from everyone. And I want to thank you for that. Because
there wasn't a lot of questions.
It wasn't much questions. It was a lot of encouragement and love that was given out to us. And that meant a lot, you guys. It meant a lot. It meant so much. Mm-hmm. I can't even... There's no words to express the thank you and the gratitude, because it just, what it does, it encourages us so much more to just continue pushing forward. It strengthens us spiritually in every way to be able to continue, in sharing. It gives us motivation in so many more ways than you guys even realize. When we know the impact that it's having in your life, in even the smallest and the slightest way, what that does for us, it fills something, and it does something to us, because it actually means that what God has said in our heart to go out and do, that what the Lord has placed in our heart, there's the purpose is being filled. And I'm blessed, and I know David's blessed. I know that we are so blessed to be able to just know that, wow, Lord, what you have set us out to do is being done. Mm-hmm. And that's a big accomplishment. Yeah. It really is. So we're so grateful. We're so grateful to be able to hear some of the stories and to hear some of that.
I wonder how many... Well, I haven't thought this through, so I might regret it and then edit it out. But remember how we've always talked about having a place to go, and we have no idea if it would be 2 people, 3 people, or 30 people that would want to join us. What if we rented a house over there and got 10 people? I wonder if that would even be possible.
Where we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Because honestly, it would literally be roughly $400 for 4 days of a bedroom. And it could hold up to 10 people, me and you and 8 other people. So I wonder if 8 other people would want And maybe not even that, because it might be a single person that wants a bedroom.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So, guys, if there's anybody out there that could say, you know what, I'd like to go hang out somewhere for 4 days and get some teaching and fellowship, but the place we would just what's it called, collectively?
Yeah, collectively
rent a
come
house?
together, rent an Airbnb or something, or a vacation home or something.
Yeah, and there's 4 bedrooms, huh?
Yeah, there's that, and there's also, the vacation home that my son's friend owns in Big Bear as well.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking over here.
Yeah, that
Because
too.
even Sal was like, man, this is 100 times better than Big Bear.
Yeah.
So anyways, guys, if there's anybody of you that would be interested, because we're trying to figure out how to do it, there's an airport there. If it would be like, let's say $400 for 4 days in a vacation home, all of us together, all of us fellowshipping, we'll get some teachings together that will just blow your minds. If that's something you're interested in, let us know. And if not, then not.
Yeah,
and if so,
just a fellowship.
Yeah.
I think just a fellowship is important,
Yeah,
and just be
'cause,
able to break bread together and just to come together, I think is important, and building that rapport, building those relationships. I think those things are the most important things,
And if you would be interested and you are wondering, it would be an amazing place in Lake Tahoe, in an amazing vacation home. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, away from everything, and to have a time of prayer and worship and fellowship and teaching.
Amen.
So maybe become something, maybe it don't. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Amen.
What else?
I talked about the prison ministry during the service. That's another thing that I'm just getting so much more excited about, is the fact that every other day we're receiving more and more responses from the prison ministry, and it really is truly. I'm praying. I think this week is the week that I'm going to reach out, and I'm asking for everybody to come together in prayer with me. That I really want to reach out to the large corporations, printing corporations, companies that have large machines, or just a large company that may have an old machine laying around somewhere. Mm-hmm. That wants to donate a machine so that we can a copy machine,
industrial one,
so that we can be able to push out some of this, some of the printing out faster. I noticed that the setback that we have is the printing of the envelopes.
Oh man,
the printing of the envelopes is what takes a really long time. We just have the regular basic small machine. One of the sisters gave us another machine, a smaller machine, which will help to have 2 printers running.
Well, I want to test that one to see how that does with the envelopes. Because what if it has a better grasp on? I don't know.
Yeah, but eventually, I think the reason why I haven't wanted to actually set out to different platforms, because I have other platforms that me and my sister are involved in that's like Families in Action, and other ones where there's a lot of places where there's a lot of families that have people that are incarcerated, is because I'm not ready yet, and I know that we need to be structurally ready, because I know that the moment that we step out in faith, and the moment that we step out, we are going to get an overflow of people wanting us to send stuff out. And I don't want it to get to a point where we have an inundation of so many requests and we're not able to meet those needs. We can't handle that because we don't have enough stamps. We don't have enough stuff to print out everything that we need to, because I know that it's going to happen. These are platforms that have thousands and thousands, over 20 to 30 to 40 to 50,000 people on there that have family and inmates in places. because I can really envision this becoming something to where, you know, families are seeking for their loved ones, and these loved ones, the responses that we're getting, they're like, I needed this. I needed to hear this. I feel that I'm there with you guys. This is different. The responses that we're getting from the inmates is different from just saying, oh, you know, thank you for sending me this, you know, I'm reading this. No, they're saying, I feel like I'm there with you guys. I feel like I'm part of this.
Yeah.
And, you know, and now it just even more so, I want to continue personalizing it to them, and I want to keep them involved and just let them know, you know, I send them Father's Days, you know, and I let them know like, hey, we're thinking of you, you know, so what are you thinking about it? So we can have correspondence back and forth. What is the impact that you had for this? And that way they can correspond and let us know what's going on in their mind. I want to be able to do that. And we have so many women who are retired, so many women who are not working that can be a part of these teams. We can have some of these teams later on in different states, you know, that can build these little teams, and they can be the ones that correspond back to them, and have their own little structure to where we have these mailers out that go out from different cities and different states. So that is my vision. And I know it can happen. So, you know, my mom always used to tell me it doesn't cost anything to dream, you know, and I believe that. So we can dream, and with God, nothing is impossible. So everything is possible through him.
And like I said, and I probably said it before to you guys, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this ministry was thought of because this is a ministry that was in place when I was in prison. And I wrote to a church, and they would send me dictated sermons, you know, as part of their ministry, and I would read them, and I felt like I was there, and I really enjoyed it. And I would look forward every week of getting my sermon, you know, and yeah, I'd get there a week late, but it didn't matter. To me, it was, you know,
it was just on time.
It was on time. So, yeah, it's a huge blessing, guys. It's a huge, huge blessing. Another thing we got blessed with, I don't know if you guys got to see the Sunday service, but somebody's going to donate an air condition.
The system.
Yeah, it's been really hot at the church, especially at the stage. I don't know if they're giving us a unit and we got to hire somebody to install, but whatever it's going to be, I mean, just the unit itself, even if we have to get somebody to install it, that is a huge jump start for us. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited.
We're going to reach out
that.
to them. They contacted us through email. So I have her information.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and contact Miss Roseanne, and then we'll go from there. And we'll definitely keep that in prayer, guys, because that is, I mean, God is just so amazing. He's just amazing.
You know, another thing is we had Brother Tony and Sister Sylvia doing worship. They did a special song last week together. As you know, Tony was ALG. He was one of the artists on my label back in the day with Darkroom. So it's a huge blessing for them to give Sharon a break, you know, so Sharon can just enjoy worship instead of always being up there leading worship, you know. So, you know, we're trying to get things going. More people were showing up to Sunday service, even though
we're keeping the guidelines in place.
Yeah, but even in the state of California, there's a lot of counties that are worried and concerned because there's more cases popping up in California. But the good news is less people are dying. But nevertheless, our seats of the church are still 6 feet apart. People are wearing the mask when they're coming in and
taking temperatures. We're keeping the guidelines in place.
Yeah, but it's I noticed today it's starting to fill up. People are coming out. People are participating, and it feels good, guys, to see people's faces, you know, and you know, and I don't know, I feel like preaching those 2 months with nobody there, it changed something in me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I don't quite know what it is, but I can tell even as I'm preaching out there, I feel like a shift that happened, and I don't know what that is, but in a good way. You know, and it's a lot of times through tribulation when growth happens.
Trials and tribulations.
You know, because you can't gain muscle at a gym until you add resistance to it. You know, and when you add resistance, that's when, and even then, muscles don't grow until you go to sleep. And that's where muscle growth happens, so it's at a time, when church doors were shut and church people couldn't have service. Is, as a pastor, you're either going to rise above it or you're going to let it crush you. And I refuse to let something crush me because I have Christ in me. It is not I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And as believers, and not just pastors, but those of us that were prevented from going to our home services or whatever it was, you were either going to let it crush you or you were going to rise above it. And I truly believe overall that many believers have came out of this pandemic stronger than they were before it. And I thank God for that. I give God the glory for that. Amen. Because, God, the Bible says that one plants, one waters, but only God gives the growth. Amen. It is only Him that gives the growth, and it's just, it's amazing, what God is doing in our lives.
Don't start.
What God is doing at House of Rest in our ministry, and just all the way around, I see just God moving in many of you guys, in your comments, in your hunger to stay there, to hang on, to not fade off, and allow the worries of this world to choke you. Like the Bible says, there's some that the seed falls on the wayside and some falls on rocks, and as soon as tribulation comes, it burns up. And some fall in the thorns, and the thorns come and choke the life out of the seed. And it's good to see you guys that you have persevered, guys. We went through this thing together, and the troubles of this world didn't choke you, and you were planted on good ground, and that's just it's beautiful to see that growth, yeah. And it's like, I don't know, like, when you guys remember I shared my daughter planting seeds here. Remember, she was really excited. Yeah. That was a while back. Bless you.
Sorry, my nose is itchy.
And you guys remember we showed that, and those plants are growing now.
I know, they're really, yeah. Except for one. Did you notice one pot? You can't see not even one little thing growing out of it, but the other two, they're just flourishing like crazy.
No flowers yet, but the stems are long.
They're long.
And why do I bring that up? Because the gospel is in everything, not just in the Bible. The whole world is God's. So you can get something out of seeing plants. I just recently switched all my plastic plants out of my aquarium, and I put live plants. And did you see that plant that's growing?
It's huge. It's already to the top.
You saw that?
Yeah.
I bought this plant, maybe this tall.
A month ago.
Not even. Like 2 weeks.
No, it's been 3 weeks, maybe.
Maybe. I say two and a half.
Okay.
That thing is reaching the top. I have a 65-gallon aquarium. This morning, I'm like, how did this happen? It literally is touching the surface of the water.
It's happy in there.
It's touching the surface, And what's crazy is when I went to the aquarium store and I said, I want to switch to live plants. I don't know what to do. Is it okay? Do I have the right type of rocks? This and that. They're like, yeah, any rocks. Just they're called these tabs. I can't remember the name of them, but they're basically like vitamins for plants. Mm-hmm. And they're like, just bury these near the roots, and it'll feed the roots, And I did that. I buried them, And why do I say that? Is because I kind of see it like every sermon, every teaching, every devotional. It's like we're burying a tab into your roots. We're putting that right there where your roots are at, because only God gives the growth, but it's up to those that you're learning from to give you that nourishment in which your roots can grow and you can grow strong. So each day you're watching a devotional or a sermon or whatever, and other people, not just us, it's these, they're called root tabs. These root tabs are being placed in your life, so you can grow strong and be nourished. So like I said, man, you get the gospel from everything.
I think in order for a person to be able to allow that to happen, they have to have the right teachable spirit, you know. They have to have the right humility, the right of all of that, you know. And I think it all begins with the right soil, you know. I think that's so important. It made me think about, remember the other day that I told you that I went to go get my nails fixed, you know. And it was funny because you guys know that the salons and all of that have been closed for months. They were closed for a long time, a lot longer than just regular businesses and everything.
Yeah, because that and yes, like
salons, hair salons and everything, because they're from the state. They're with the state, and they can lose their state license if they opened up. So they were closed for a longer time than most businesses and restaurants and everything. So, you know, when I asked them if I can just go in so that they can just do a quick little repair, or just a quick nail change or something like that, a lot of them, you know, the lady was like, well, is that all you want done? You know, and I just kind of felt like, well, yeah. And it wasn't enough for them, you know, like they wanted a whole to do manicure, pedicure. They wanted something that was going to make more money for them, because I know that they're hurting. And, you know, and so I seen them kind of like talking amongst themselves, like, well, who's going to take her? You know, who's going to take her? You know, and nobody wanted to take me. And I'm just kind of like, well, that's sad. You know, nobody wants to help me because it's not a high paying, you know,
like
little
full nail set.
Yeah. So, but you know what? I was like, well, maybe somebody will decide to. And here comes a young girl. She made me look like she was about 18 years old, 18, 19. She goes, I'll take it. You know, and it really blessed my heart. And I came home and I told David, and I was like, you know, this young girl decided to take my service. And she sat down and she was like, well, what can I do for you? And I said, actually, I just need you to fix them. And I told her, here's the thing. I said, I don't know much about this stuff, but I trust you. You're young and you look like you know what you're doing. So here, just do what you need to do. I trust you. And I go, just make it look pretty. And she got so happy, like, you know, she just had a blank piece of canvas, you know. And she's like, okay. So she went, yeah. So she just went at it. And she chose a color that I would have never chosen myself. And she just did what she needed to do. And I just let her go at it. And she did a beautiful job. And here's the thing, you know, I know that I deserved it, and I know that I work hard. And I was like, you guys know this, because I think I told you guys the last time I got my nails done, which was a long time ago, because one of the sisters took me to get them done, and that was the last time, and I've never had that done before. I'm very simple. I don't do these things. I'm not girly like that to ever get that kind of stuff done. So I was like, you know, I deserve this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take care of her. So I went to the ATM, came back, and I blessed her with a really, really good tip. And she was really shocked. And, you know, the man that refused to help me and give me service at the beginning, he kind of looked and he was like, maybe I should have taken her, you know. He said something to her, and she was just so happy, and she kept saying thank you to me. And but it's like, you know, I guess the moral of the story is that we need to stay humble, you know. We need to stay humble and remember that everything, you know, can be a blessing, that we need to, you know, look at things differently. It's just, I don't know.
So we should all get our nails done.
You want me to do your nails?
No.
Pedicure?
No.
Why? You would never let me do that for you?
Oh, man. I'm a man, I tell you.
Men get pedicures.
Not this guy. Not this guy.
But
so
clean your nails.
Oh, they get clean in the shower. So, yeah, guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but we don't have a verse today. You know why? You know why? Because I preached my little heart out today. I preached on a whole passage of a parable and poured myself out and enjoyed it. And I love to see I love to see the people when I could tell they're getting it, what it is that I'm saying, and it's a beautiful thing, And I'm not saying I preach for a reward, but my reward is just to see people get it. Not like, oh, that was an amazing sermon. No, when I see the light turn on and I see they get it, you know what I mean? That's when I get my reward. I'm like, okay, Lord, thank you, because you allowed me to articulate something in a way that people just grasp it. It becomes relevant to them. And if something becomes relevant, then it becomes able to be implemented into their life now.
I have a question for you.
Ask away.
Will you be honest with me?
Depends.
Okay. So for you guys, it would be Saturday. And for me, it was yesterday. So yesterday, you saw me go through a very difficult moment. And yesterday, I was watching home videos, guys. My mom decided to leave me. As you guys know, my mom was here last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my mom was here last.
We're back.
Hi, guys. So.
You're talking about your video.
I know. So I was saying that my mom brought like a whole bunch of videos. She records so many videos. She's done it her whole life since we were little, very, very little. And she would always bring the VHSs and make them into DVDs and stuff. So she brought a handful last time, and we started to watch them, but she left them here and I didn't realize it. And I started watching some by myself on Saturday. So I got the hiccups. I was sitting in here watching on Saturday while David was doing the, reading his word and he was doing the sermon. And I was just cracking up and just, reminiscing and watching my kids when they were little and texting them pictures and little partial clips of the videos and stuff and everything. And then I popped one in, and when I popped this one in, it looked like it was back in 1991. And I heard a very familiar voice, but I didn't see the person yet. And then it got to the point where it showed my father. And by that time, David had just sat down.
You keep moving and you keep moving out.
Sorry, babe. By that time, David had just sat down. And my heart really, like something happened to me, And it just became really hard at that moment. So I almost felt like a child all of a sudden, and I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I broke down like a little kid, just seeing my father there. I felt like my emotions were everywhere, and I don't know if it was almost like a denial or at the same time, because you have somebody who's strong in the Lord, but at the same time I'm like, wait a minute, I'm healed from all that, but at the same time I just kind of feel like, well, then why am I feeling this? But I haven't forgotten what I've gone through. And that moment, why did that moment hurt me so much? Like, why did that happen? That's never happened to me.
That was your question?
Yeah, like,
Because you're human. I don't even know what. First of all, I saw you crying, but I don't know for what. I don't know if it's crying from sadness. I don't know if it's crying because he's still your dad and you missed him. I don't know if you're crying because of horrible things. So I had no idea. So to answer your question, I don't know. You never shared with me what you were feeling. It could have been anger. It could have been sadness. It could have been both. Because I do believe that as a child, you can have traumatic, somebody do something traumatic to you, yet there's still nice moments. So almost like, why am I sad? This person's gone. I'm actually miss this person, but then I hate this person. I don't know. I imagine.
I guess it was a mixture. It was kind of a mixture of both, because I saw the happy moment, the way he was dancing, you know, and everything, the way I remembered that happy moment for a quick moment, and I was like, why couldn't he always just be that father? You know?
And I think it built up too, because we just watched a movie.
Yeah, Fathers and Daughters.
Was it? When was that? The
day
night
before.
Fathers and Daughters with Russell Crowe. And wow. That movie was so impactful. And the whole time I was watching it, I was a little nervous because of your situation. And it was actually a beautiful movie. Yeah. Beautiful movie. I mean, Russell Crowe played the father of this little girl. She had some traumatic stuff happen, nothing to do with her dad. She loved her dad. But you had said something in the middle of the movie. You said, why can't all dads be like that? And I was like, oh man, is this a good movie to watch with you? You know, because of that.
It did, honestly. I actually, while watching my video, brought me back to the night before.
To that movie.
Because I actually did go back to that movie, and I was like, man, you know, because it was hard. How do you like deal with you being a man with a woman, you know, that has gone through something like that? How do you deal with that? Because I almost felt like you didn't know how to deal with
I don't.
With my situation on Saturday.
Because I don't know. I don't. I felt anger when I saw it. When you said that's my dad, I felt anger, to be honest with you. But it's like, what am I going to do? Because I don't know how you would feel about that. So I felt it best to keep it to myself. But I felt really angry. You know, that's just, you asked me for an honest.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm asking for an honest opinion.
You know, but I don't know. You know, that other movie, you know, I didn't know how that was going to affect you. And then it was kind of like back to back, you know, watching it. And, you know, I almost felt bad for you when in the middle of that movie, you said, why can't all dads be like that? Like, even my daughters, the only one that has memories like that with me is Leanna, because she was my oldest. All the rest grew up when I was in prison. And a lot of the things, I had moments like that with Leanna. I would pick her up and dance with her. I would sing to her. I would color with her. I would watch movies with her. You know, so Leanna is, because sometimes you wonder like how Leanna loves to be babied by me, because that's her.
Yeah.
She does have those memories of me, you know. So anyways, yeah, I don't know why that happened. I think that's normal. I think it's a normal thing. I remember when I was transferring the videos of my kids, you know, and seeing my kids little. Remember, I was still in the trailer when I was doing that. Now I cried a lot, man, because, you know, just seeing them little, and I missed it. You know, all those years gone. So I know what it's like to, you know, you feel a certain kind of way when you see old videos like that. And that's why, guys, we gotta, I mentioned it.
You said today,
in today's sermon, you know, that you never know when the good days were until it's past. Then you talk about the good old days. Because honestly, right now, watching these videos, is going to be the good old days for you in the future. You're going to be like, man, I remember when, or wherever it is you're at, whatever it is you're going through, or I don't know what's in our future. I don't know what's in our future here, and I have no idea. And for all we know, we're going to talk about the good old days when we were right here in the cross wall. So.
I told somebody today because somebody was very hesitant to open up with me or to talk with me because they felt that maybe I hadn't gone through much or I hadn't gone through anything. I think the way I live today is contrary to the way I lived then, because I'm a new creation in Christ, and God has transformed me. I'm no longer the person that I was then. What good would it be for me to live in the shame and the guilt and the condemnation, and for me to walk in the person that I was then now? So what good would I be of use to anybody if I was still that person now? And so what I do have to offer is my testimony and to share. And what I did answer is listen, the reason why I make myself available, the reason why I say and I try my best to share my heart with people, or I try to correct with love, or I try to, share what I do go through, it's because I don't want somebody to go through it.
Yeah.
Because if I've been there, I want to let somebody know that I've been there. And I don't want to see somebody go through it if there's no need for them to go through it. And there's people that, yes, they like going through things on their own, to learn it on their own. But I think a wise person is the person who learns from other people's mistakes. And that's using wisdom. So I think it's important that sometimes we listen, and we really listen attentively when somebody shares their testimony. We pay attention attentively, and we use discernment as well to the things that we do. Very, very important, using discernment and whom we surround ourselves with and what we do. It's important that we guard our heart, guard our testimony. I know sometimes we want to elude a little bit more than what we are, or, try to show off a little bit more, but sometimes it pays off to keep your life a little bit private, to guard your testimony. You have to do that. You don't want to please the world, to try to prove something that you're not. It's like, what are we trying to prove? I could easily, people would probably open up to me more if they knew a lot more about my story and be like, dang, she has gone through a lot. But, I think I open up and I share my testimony when people want to know my testimony, when people get to know me, when people take the time, and I begin to share my story. I begin to open up my heart with people. But for me to really go out there and just to be like, yeah, well, I was this, I was that. No, I don't do that. I just, I kind of stay a little bit guarded in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just wanted to share that, because I know that on Saturday, I I guess, like, one of the brothers on Saturday when we were doing the Zoom class, he was like, is there something wrong with me, when he asked you a question? And I wanted to ask you, is there something wrong with me because of how I felt? But it doesn't make me a weaker person for feeling that way,
Nobody
right?
asked me nothing. What are you talking about?
When we were on the Zoom, and the brother asked, is there something wrong because of how he feels about the worship?
Oh, that you said it was if he asked if somebody was wrong with you.
No,
I'm like,
no.
nobody asked me that.
No. So I'm asking you the same thing, is there something wrong for me feeling that way, Because I did have a mixture of emotions on Saturday with anger and hurt, but at the same time, I did feel that way because of what I had seen,
Yeah.
So, but you just said it's human, it doesn't make me any weaker. It doesn't make me any less Christian. It doesn't make me any less any of that, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just human. That's we're emotional creatures. And especially seeing old pictures, old videos, old whatever. Somebody that's passed. There's all those feelings.
yeah.
All those feelings come back. Whether the person that passed was a good or bad or a mixture of both. Because honestly, most people. There's only bad people strictly in movies, Darth Vader, and you know what I mean. In reality, I believe I have met murderers that are obviously they were horrible to somebody, and there's a family out there that couldn't stand them, but yet they would be good-hearted in prison. So I believe that everybody has a good and a bad side to them, and that's just life. That's just what it is, I am sure there's people that said to, man, your dad was a great guy, and there's you that will say something different.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, who knows how long this video is.
I know, we've stopped and go.
Yeah.
But you guys, thank you for letting me ramble on and letting me share. That's what my weekend was sort of about. That's where my mind was this weekend. I had a lot of deep thoughts about my childhood, a lot of deep thoughts about my father, and if for those of you who don't know, I had gone through a lot of abuse with my paternal father. I went through sexual abuse with my paternal father, and he passed away in 2010. And, it was something really, really hard to go through, being when you're supposed to be protected by the man who helped bring you into this world. And it wasn't the easiest thing to go through. Being 9 years old, he stole something so precious for me as a little girl, and just seeing those memories were really, really, really hard. And I think what that did, it paved a very bumpy journey in my life after that. And I made a lot of very, very unwise decisions in my life because of the shame and the guilt and the unworthiness that I felt for a very long time in my life. And until I came to find Christ at the age of 17 and a half, 18 years old, is where I felt a place of refuge. I felt that I can breathe, and I felt freedom. I began to feel love, and I began to feel something, and he saved me. He saved me. And yet even then it was a journey, and it was a lot of trials and tribulations. It was a lot, but I'm here today, and I'm able to say, that, like David was saying earlier at the beginning of this video, that regardless of the trials and tribulations, the triumphs and persevering and getting to a certain point, man, God has gotten me to where I am right now, and I'm so grateful and thankful for that. I really, really, truly am. So,
Yeah.
praise God.
You know, I just want to end it by saying that everything that you've gone through, whoever it is that you're watching, it's because of those experiences that cause you to be who you are. And I'm going to end it with this. It's a movie scene on the 5 heartbeats. And in the 5 heartbeats, that toward the end of the movie, the guy it's just a fictional movie, but it's loosely based on Temptations, I believe, but it could have been any Motown group. But anyways, the lead singer says something as he's receiving an award. And I want to wrap this video up with this. He said, you know, when I was young, and I'm paraphrasing, he goes, when I was young, I was told that I was a good singer, but that I hadn't been through heartbreak yet. And until your heart has been broken and stepped on and betrayed, he goes, then you'll be a great singer. And then he goes, I would like to thank those that hurt me because now I'm a great singer. You know, and the reason I say that is because every single person that has risen above it, from the Michael Jordans to, I mean, if you ever look at people that rose above it, there was always a time and a moment when they could have been when they were shattered and they were broken. And it was because of that shaped who you are now. So if somebody preaches or sings worship or does whatever it is, and you're like, man, that person is a great preacher, great singer, great author, great whatever, I will tell you, it's because life has broken them and they were a good singer, but now they become a great singer. They were a good writer, but now they're a great writer. They were a good preacher, but now they're a great preacher because life has hit them. You know, so anytime you hear somebody that is great in what it is they're passionate about, there's a lot of pain behind it that they had to go through in order to get where they're at. So, all right, guys, this is probably a super, super long video. So we're going to end it there. God bless you and have a great week. Have a great Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye, guys. We love you.
Bye.